In this video, we review Azure Resource Locks. Hello everyone, I'm Travis and welcome to my channel. Azure Resource Locks are a great option for protecting resources in Azure, but it's important to understand how they work. In this video, we review what they are and some of the limitations and considerations for using them. Before that, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. Click the bell icon for notifications of new content and check out my courses on Azure Virtual Desktop, Windows 365 with Intune Management, and hybrid identities with Windows AD and Entra ID. Links are below, and thank you channel members, your support is appreciated. The concept of resource locks in Azure is pretty simple. A lock can be applied to a subscription, resource group, or individual resource. It overrides an administrator's permissions. A lock protects resources in Azure from accidental deletions or modifications. Here's a scenario. Let's say we deploy an application using an automation process like Terraform or a DevOps pipeline. Part of the application is a database that holds customer records. Now, something happens and we need to redeploy the application. We run the automation process and it removes and recreates all resources, including the database with our customer records. Or an administrator mistypes a resource group name and removes production resources instead of the lab resources they intended. In both cases, I hope there's backups. With locks, we can prevent accidental modifications or deletions by locking the resources. The automation or administrator action would fail because of the locks on those resources. There are two types of locks we can apply. The first is cannot delete. This means an authorized user can read and modify a resource, but cannot delete it. So storage capacity could be changed on a resource, but it can't be removed. Next is read-only. As the name implies, administrators can view and read the resource, but not modify or delete it. Behind the scenes, the lock prevents the post method from being sent to the Azure Resource Manager API. A resource lock is not the same as RBAC roles. Locks apply across all roles. Even an owner cannot modify a resource if the read-only lock is applied. Here's some important things to help understand Azure locks. First, they only apply to managing Azure resources, not the resource itself. For example, if we add a read-only lock on an Azure SQL resource, applications can still read and write to the database. The read-only lock prevents modifications to the resource at the Azure management level, not the functionality of the resource itself. Or say there's a delete lock on a file share. The delete lock applies to the management or control plane. That would not prevent somebody from deleting data in the share. That's an important thing to understand. Locks apply to resource management, not the functionality of the resource itself. You may be wondering, what if we need to remove a resource with a delete lock or modify a resource with a read-only lock? Well, locks can be removed and changed. Users with the owner and the user access administrator role can create and remove locks. So a lock isn't permanent. Remember, the purpose of a lock is to prevent accidental deletions or modifications. It's not intended to prevent intentional deletions or modifications. Locks can be removed, but that's a very intentional action. It should be noted that locks won't prevent an authorized user or someone acting with ill intent who has elevated permissions from removing the lock. Let's talk about scopes and inheritance next. We can apply locks to a subscription, resource group, or individual resource. When we apply a lock to a resource group or subscription, all resources within that scope will inherit the lock. That includes resources created after the lock is put in place. If there are multiple locks applied to a resource, a delete lock on a subscription and read-only on a resource group in that subscription, for example, the most restrictive wins. So the resource in that example will have the read-only lock. We can't delete a resource group if any resources in the group has a lock. We have to remove all locks first. Azure won't do a partial delete either. Nothing in the resource group will be deleted. However, if you cancel a subscription with locked resources inside it, the lock won't stop the cancellation. Azure will deactivate resources in a canceled subscription and only delete them after a waiting period. Applying locks could have some unintended consequences. Remember, behind the scene, a lock limits or prevents the post API method. For example, if we put a read-only lock on a VM in Azure, we can't send any updates, including power off or power on. If the VM is shut down, the read-only lock will prevent it from being powered on. If we enable a read-only lock on a network security group, we can't create NSG flow logs. However, if we apply a delete lock, we could, because that allows for modifying the resource. There are some common management modifications that Azure uses in normal operations. A read-only lock may prevent those operations. We can create and remove locks the same way we can create and remove resources in Azure with ARM templates and Bicep, PowerShell, the Azure CLI, and using the REST API. Also through the portal. Let's go to the portal next and see how we can add and remove locks. Here we are at the Azure portal. As I mentioned earlier, we can do this with PowerShell, the Azure CLI, ARM templates, and even the ARM REST API. I like using the portal for demonstrations because it's more visual. We can apply locks at the subscription, resource group, and individual resources. Let's start with a resource group. From the resource group, we'll go to Settings, Locks, and add a lock. We'll give it a name. We'll set the lock type to read only, and we'll provide a note and click OK. That applies a read-only lock to this resource group. If we go into our resources, let's open up a virtual machine. This virtual machine has stopped. Let's try to start it. We can't because there's a read-only lock. The start action requires a post API call that's prevented by the lock. We can't change the state from stopped to started because it's read-only. Let's go to settings on this VM and we'll go into locks. Here we can see the read-only lock is inherited. And because it's inherited, we also can't delete it. Let's add a lock. We'll call it delete lock. And we'll set it to delete. We'll add a note and click OK. We can try to start it again. It still won't start. There are two locks now. The most restrictive, the read-only lock, applies. Let's go back to the resource group. Then we'll go to locks. We can see the locks in the resource group, including the scope. Let's delete the read-only lock. Notice how easy it was to delete the lock with the right permissions. Locks are meant to prevent accidental deletions or changes, not intentional ones. Now let's go back to that virtual machine. If we go to locks, now it only has a delete lock. We'll go back to the virtual machine and try to start it. And that works. The delete lock does not prevent changing the resource. Let's try to delete the virtual machine. And we can't because we have a delete lock. We can change it so we can start it, but we can't delete the resource. Let's go back to the resource group. We'll go back to locks. We removed the lock from the resource group. Now we only have the VM delete lock. Let's try to delete the resource group. And we can't. If any resource in the resource group is locked, we can't delete the resource group. It won't do a partial delete. It won't delete anything at all in that resource group. That is how locks work in Azure and in the Azure portal. That is an overview of Azure Resource Locks and how to configure them in the Azure portal. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.